Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today. This time it's an article from the Free Press, and it is dated January 27th, 127, as if you can't see it, but January 27th, we'll do that. And it is called Emilia Perez and the Curse of Oscar Bait. And the subheading here says, why is the Academy obsessed with movies no one wants to see? And the reason I'm doing this article isn't to necessarily knock on this movie. I haven't seen it, full disclosure. I only heard about it for the first time a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember what channel it was that I heard about it on for the first time, but I was just like, it wasn't hearing about the movie, what it was about. It was seeing some of the actual clips, and it was like, what the hell is this? But I think it's a valid question, though, about, like the subheading says, why is the Academy obsessed with movies no one wants to see? And if you don't know already, I haven't actually read this article, but this movie got 13 Oscar nominations, which I think is tied for second most in history, and critics weren't overwhelmingly they liked it. I think it was at 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, though I don't really hold up Rotten Tomatoes as a bastion of movie making review capability, because Rotten Tomatoes is corrupt if you know anything about them. And also I think their audience score though was in the teens, which means people generally, at least the regular movie audience, did not like this movie. And if you see some of the clips going around how it just busts into a musical all of a sudden, and the musical is just the people, most of them can't really sing, you're just kind of okay. And that's part of it too, is just I don't like musicals. I'm not a musical person. It always takes me completely out of the movie. But let's just get into this and see what it says. And again, I'm not doing this to clown on the movie. I'm doing this just to see for that point of why are the Oscars so obsessed with movies nobody wants to see? So enough of me babbling, let's jump right in. It says, last week, the nominees for the 2025 Academy Awards were announced. Leading contender with 13 total nominations, Emilia Perez, a French-produced Spanish-language musical about a transgender Mexican drug lord and her underappreciated girl boss defense attorney. The film lost around $15 million at the box office on a relatively modest $26 million budget. I did not know that. That's nuts. I know it made $11 million, but I didn't know what the budget was. So that's crazy, though. So if you haven't seen it, you likely aren't alone and shouldn't feel bad. It wasn't made for you anyway. It says Emilia Perez is what people call Oscar bait, the sort of film that is made, seemingly, for the express purpose of catching the attention of the approximately 10,000 members of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Mostly film industry insiders, their tastes are predictable. They like austere dramas and social commentary, stories that will make you cry while also attempting to say something about politics. Think of 2016's Moonlight, I haven't seen that. It's a tragedy about a poor gay drug dealer that grossed $65 million worldwide at the box office. It beat La La Land, which grossed $500 million worldwide, to the title of Best Picture. Or think of Nomadland, which won Best Picture in 2020. It follows a homeless widow who travels across the country in a van after losing her job in the Great Recession. And I haven't seen any of those movies, but okay. I guess I'm one of those people that is just the Academy's out of step with. It says the tastes of the Academy are so predictable that they've been delightfully parodied, most succinctly perhaps in the 2008 episode of American Dad, of course, which Roger the Alien takes on a supervillain persona and produces a film called Oscar Gold about an intellectually disabled Jewish alcoholic whose puppy dies of cancer while he's hiding in an attic during the Holocaust. The movie is intended to make viewers cry themselves to death. And I've seen, up until last year, or I should say this year, or I should say the last TV season that would have started in the fall, I've seen every episode of American Dad. I don't remember this one. There's a lot of them. I don't have cable anymore, so I will not be watching any going forward. But I don't remember this at all, but it totally makes sense that it happened on that show and that Roger the Alien is the one who did it. So Late Night with Seth Meyers did a similar parody in 2017, producing a trailer for a fictional film simply called Oscar Bait, featuring racial tension, latent homosexuality, the French language, and dialogue that for us feels sort of profound. And I'm not a fan of Seth Meyers at all, but that actually does sound funny. As a conservative might say, the film industry is being used to produce far-left propaganda, but the truth is that the politics of Oscar bait typically run a few years behind progressive ideology du jour. Case in point, Emilia Perez wasn't good enough trans representation for the professional scolds over at the ultra-leftist GLAAD, the LGBTQ media watchdog, but it was good enough for the liberal boomers running the Academy. They also loved 2018's Green Book, a movie about a black musician and his friendly but slightly racist Italian-American driver, even though the New York Times called it a racial reconciliation fantasy. In 2013's 12 Years a Slave, which was deemed a white savior story by The Atlantic. And I did watch, that's the first movie that's been mentioned in this article that I've actually seen is 12 Years a Slave. This was before I really started noticing things out there, but it's not a movie I ever need to watch again, to be perfectly honest. Not that I didn't like it. It's a very, very good movie. It's just, if you watch it, you understand. It's kind of like, you're not like, it's like watching Schindler's List, and you're like, I don't really ever need to see that again. Like, excellent movie, but it's extremely sad. So that's why. It says typically Oscar bait receives a lot of hype before underperforming at the box office, then fading into obscurity. I haven't thought about Green Book since it stoked a debate about whether or not black and white people are allowed to be friends in movies. Of course they are. Like, I know the article is like saying that sarcastically, but it's like, and it's just one of those things that makes me go like, really? Does someone have a problem with that? Like, that just doesn't make sense. It says, remember The Artist, nominated for 10 Academy Awards in 2012? I doubt it. Actually, I do remember that one. I haven't seen it. It was a black and white, partially silent French film about an alcoholic actor in Depression-era Hollywood, perhaps the most Oscar-baity film ever made. Oop, scroll down a little too far there. It says, I've never met anyone who has seen 2022's Best Picture winner, Coda, the coming-of-age film about the hearing daughter of a deaf fisherman who aspires to become a singer. And I also don't know anyone who liked Emilia Perez, which has a 24% popcorn meter approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, so the popcorn meter is actually the audience rating. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I want to see what it is now because I'm pretty sure I remember it being in 19. That's what I thought, and 74%. Okay, so there you go. So, yeah, obviously the article was written before things changed because people are still putting in reviews of it. So it's down to 19%. It says, and I hang out with snobs, the author says not even Mexicans like it. When the film hit theaters south of the border, there were so many refund requests, a government consumer protection agency had to become involved. Wow. Okay. So sure, some Oscar bait, such as 1994's Forrest Gump, makes an enduring mark on pop culture. But too many movies suffer for being surgically designed to hit all the right buttons for approximately 10,000 Hollywood insiders. And, I mean, Forrest Gump, though, was a good movie. I mean, that was an excellent movie. I mean, I've seen it, a couple dozen times, probably. And I remember seeing it in the theater when it came out. But, I mean, it's based on a book. It's a really good movie. What's the problem? I don't think Forrest Gump was Oscar bait. But I think the Academy needs to get more in line with, what do regular people like, instead of just trying to go after, to make the Best Picture winner the movie that just it hits all their little buttons. Because this movie is going to win everything. I mean, I have a feeling it's just going to win everything, and it's going to be like, are they really putting this movie on the level with, Return of the King or All About Eve or Gone with the Wind? Come on. So finally, just finishing it off, since this is the last paragraph here, it says, art is not a democracy, nor should it be. If it were, we'd have Funko Pops in the Louvre. That would kill the credibility of the Louvre, wouldn't it? It says, but a balance can be, and sometimes is, struck between profundity and watchability. Oppenheimer is a good example from 2023, as is the campy body horror The Substance from 2024. And finally, two other movies I have seen. Oppenheimer is fantastic. The Substance I thought was good. Maybe I'm not as big on it as other people are. I definitely understood the message behind it, but I'd still recommend people go see it. But understand it's a body horror movie, and if you're not into that, you're not going to like it. So this is, we need more of that, and if the Academy stopped feeling flattered when studios clamor for their attention and start feeling embarrassed, maybe we'd get it, but I won't hold my breath, and that is it. So, yeah, I mean, again, bringing this up just to kind of show that, like the article said at the very beginning, why is the Academy obsessed with movies no one wants to see? And like it says, it points out a bunch of movies in here, a bunch of Oscar winners, or, Best Picture winners, I should say, that, nobody's seen or nobody even remembers were Best Picture winners, and beat out, like it says here, Moonlight beat out La La Land, which grossed, nearly 10 times as much money. And I mean, I think that has to come into consideration at some point, is how much money did the movie actually make? How popular was it amongst regular people? And that just doesn't seem to be a thing. They just kind of go, what's a movie that's trying to say something about our culture and it didn't make very much money at all? That one. Let's pick that one. And now with the Hollywood leaning as far to the left as it does, it's got to say something that's practically communist. or something that's a far left ideal in order for it to actually win, or to be mentioned as an Oscar contender. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say about this. I'm kind of blabbering at this point. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Have you seen any of the movies mentioned in the article, and what did you think about them? And if you've seen this one, let me know what you thought about that too. Let me know in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.